Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Thursday the 19th of September. So, yesterday's Fed meeting, pretty neutral really, much as expected. No surprises within that at all. And the markets reacted accordingly. So relatively tight ranges, the euro, the pound, on that basis. So what we got in store for tomorrow? Well, the way the euro's holding up here, maybe it has. It's not going to just continue to that sort of dead cat bounce. Maybe it is trying to put it in the bottom here. But judging and reading through the lines there, it doesn't look like the further rate cuts are going to happen necessarily as quick as originally thought by the market. So we could see some more dollar strength coming through, but I think the wise money had already priced out further cut, so we'll see. But for now, euro, well, it's in ranges. I think it's. I mean, it had less movement yesterday than it had the previous day, so it just pretty much sums things up there. Okay, looking in terms of potential opportunities today, it's in this wedgy sort of pattern at the moment. It's consolidated. It was doing similar yesterday. It ended up breaking through for the news, but it's really come back into it. As I say, it was no significant news there and no significant movement, and we're sort of sitting there quite consolidated in yet another sort of a wedge, or a slightly bigger wedge. You could be drawing these or redrawing these lines here and looking for breaks, but I think it may be pretty much, unless some other news comes out there, pretty held up in between the two. So that's where we are with the euro dollar. Now we did see that's yen. I'm not going to get into the yen yet. Let's have a look at the pound first then. Pound wise today, we've got the Bank of England Monetary Policy Committee meeting continuing, and they will be releasing their data at 12, and again it's one of these that's expected to go nowhere, so I don't expect lots of movement from that news. We've got retail sales at 9:30. That might give more kicker than that we may see later on. And sorry, I'm just moving this trend line over there. There we go. That's still in that sort of wedge there. And now, looking at this, in fact, I'm just going to nip it over there if I can, and you can see there you go, pretty much from the lows there. It's just bouncing off that sort of range this morning. Personally, I still think we've got further upside to be had on the pound. I know in the pivot world on this monthly basis, well, they were quite pinched, so we're getting close towards that R3. Maybe that R3 would be a near-term target. Looking from a 4-hourly, you can see really there's very little range movements going on here. Very choppy on the 4-hourlies. Tight. Need to show its hand a little bit. My bias is still towards the upside. If it breaks this lower trend line, though, I'll have to ignore that for now. But at the moment, the bias stays more bullish. But retail sales may do something different, and it may be worth waiting for those to come out if you're looking at trading it this morning. Phew, got that line out there. Now, the yen, no changes here with the yen, no cuts. There were some people, and it was suggested there may be a slight cut to the rates, so even more negative rates, but well, the yen, based on that, it's had its movement this morning, and again it's quite a neutral movement there, rallying back up at the moment. I'm still looking for more upside on the yen, and well, we may see some more come through. What would change that, whether it breaks that 60-minute 200 in the short term, would change that, but at the moment I'm looking and thinking, well, bigger picture here, we haven't, I don't think we'd seen any, we've seen a bit of divergence maybe through there. Nothing's triggered though, it's just consolidated, and so it could just continue on that route. So difficult one to trade intraday at the moment, mainly, but may give some trades, but it's more swingy. Aussie dollar continued to sell off then, as we keep on calling for the downside on the Aussie. Well, we're seeing further Aussie. Employment figures came out. Overall, the unemployment rate up, chipped up at 0.1, which is pretty insignificant when it's so low at 5.3. The unemployment change was actually positive. Or the employment change, I should say, was positive, 34 and a half, just over 34,500 jobs there against 15 expected. Not too much to be said on from that perspective, because it's not really affected it. It's just the weakness of the commodity currencies coming through here, and we're just seeing the continuation to the downside. So with the slow growth everywhere else, this is the knock-on effect. And as I say, swing wise, it's the perfect swing down, was the perfect swing down, consolidating again. I don't know why I've come down to a 5-minute chart, crikey. Consolidating, certainly on that 5-minute time frame, maybe got another step down, but it's already moved so far through the Asian session there that not a lot to be done with that unless it gets a retrace to sell into. Canadian dollar, another commodity currency, and it's struggling. It really is struggling. It's oil prices firm or whatever, it's still pushing up here. US dollar strength, all down to growth really. A lot of this, and well, as I say, the Canadian dollar really hadn't benefited from slightly higher oil prices to any significance, and well, we're just seeing a trend gradually up. Fundamentally, every other reason, every other way, Canadian economy doing quite well. So this sort of goes against the grain for me a little bit, but it's, as I say, it's more based on the commodity currencies more so, and they're getting the sell at the moment. Maybe if there's some sort of corrections here, the Canadian dollar will do quite well, and we see this sometimes. We see the sort of much sharper moves that we come through sometimes. But at the moment, it's struggling around here. A break of the trend down there may just give us another one of these moves. That's sort of a couple of days of decent downward price action. But for now, struggling. I'm just looking at the no, I was just looking to see if there's a bit of divergence across the highs here. There was a arguable divergence before then, but almost low, even the low high hasn't got quite in there, but it does look like it might have more downside. Okay, at some point, but the overall trend here, high lows, high highs, is still edging to the upside. So it's just a case of waiting for that to switch back, maybe. Right, nothing else to report there. News-wise, then today, just to clarify, we've already had the Bank of Japan conference at 7:30. I believe that's finished. I can't see any more news coming out on that at the moment. I'll have another look just before I finish. Swiss National Bank, if you're interested in that, 8:30, their policy assessment and their rates at 8:30. Yeah, sometimes has a knock-on effect to the euro. Retail sales UK, as I said, is the important one to watch out for this morning if you're looking at trading a pound. You may get a bit of volatility beforehand, but that's my preference is still to the upside. But then we've got the Bank of England meeting at 12 o'clock, and there's no... as according to the diary here, there's no chat afterwards, so it's very unlikely to be any changes anyway, as there's no press conference. That's what I mean by the term chat. Okay, that's it. I wish you a great day, and I'll speak to you in the morning. Bye for now.